skin the cat. And throughout the day, we've heard about decongesting Metro Manila. We've heard about the potential of the Philippines moving forward. And this afternoon, I wish to talk to you about another way. One is developing in the provinces. Another way is actually expanding the metro itself. Yeah? So a few days ago, the World Economic Forum released a forecast that was done by PricewaterhouseCoopers that says that the Philippines would be the 24th most powerful economy in the world by the year 2020. And that rank 24 pulls us right about ahead of Malaysia, right? And a lot of us go to Kuala Lumpur or Penang or other places in Malaysia today and say, wait, I wish the Philippines could be like this. So World Economic Forum is saying that that's going to happen around 2030. And once we get to that stage, we're about the size of Australia. And you push that about 25% more, and we're about where Canada is, around 2030, if you believe the World Economic Forum. So there's so much growth. Population is going to grow from 100 million by another 50 million by that time, if you look at the forecasts. So the question is, where's all this growth going to work out of? Where is all this growth going to live? Where is all this growth going to shop? Where are they going to entertain themselves, right? So this is one of SM Prime's answers to that incredibly big challenge. So I've split up my talk to you today into three parts. First, quick rundown of what's already there. A lot of you are probably familiar already with the Mall of Asia complex area. And then we'd move very quickly to what are the things that Richard was saying that are under construction already. And lastly, I'd like to share with you a little bit more about the future plans for the Bay Area, which is the answer to one of the options for where all of this growth is going to come from. So, what we have there today, unfortunately, Sheila's list earlier only listed the top 10, so she just missed number 11, which is the Mall of Asia complex. There's 5 or 6 malls in the world's biggest 20 that are SM malls. And they're in the Philippines as well as in China. A lot of the important conferences, Asia CEO Forum is not yet happening there. We should do something about that. Are happening in the SMX complex. And who likes watching the LaSalle Ateneo basketball games or volleyball games? So you probably, there was a Michael Bublé concert there, Coldplay was there, but that's a little bit later. But one of the largest arenas in the Philippines, the Mall of Asia Arena. LeBron James did the pre-season game there. This was fairly recently. This is Coldplay. So there's a lot of activities. Now, if you live there, if you work there, it's not just for the 8 hours of the day that you're working that Mall of Asia could keep you busy. There's also a ton of residential options close there. We heard earlier this desire to live close to where you work, and this is SM's solution to that challenge. Hotel options also abound, from budget options such as Microtel to 5-star options such as Conrad. And if you look at Airbnb, I haven't done the numbers, but if you look at Airbnb, probably the most number of listings for Manila is in Pasay. Just look at those beautiful little spaces there that's been created. Again, going back to how entrepreneurial the Filipinos are. Offices. We have a grand total of 6 in the master plan designed by Arquitectonica. And these spaces are home to Telstra and MNCs like Royal Caribbean, Xerox, Maersk, Visa, and not to mention the headquarters of many of SM's subsidiaries, one of the largest conglomerates. And these are all supported by a nice collection of retail options. So you can go there at 6 in the morning and do a workout before your work at Fitness First or Anytime Fitness. Lots of dining options. I put 2 examples there. if you need a primary care facility, we have people like Medical City there, and for financial services, of course, BDO as well as China Bank. I was going to do a contest of which of those retail outlets, do I frequent Fitness First or do I frequent House of Wagyu? But I think it's too easy to guess that. Recently opened around the Christmas time, December period, is the NAIA Expressway. This has been a godsend. I live in the south. My commute has gone down from 55 minutes to 25 minutes thanks to NAIA Expressway. And I was telling a story earlier of on a Friday night, 6 p.m., I left the office. I had to catch a flight, a 7 o'clock, 7:30 flight in Terminal 2. I took an Uber from our office in One Ecom, took NAIA Expressway, and I was at the airport in 7 minutes. So, I don't know, anyone here has gone from their Makati office to the airport in less than an hour? Yeah. What time, sir? All right, so Cavitex has been there a while, gives a wide access to the south, large populations over there in Cavitex. These are things that are already there. So whether by land or by sea, the Esplanade Seaside Terminal is there. Mayor, I guess this is where you board before going to Malolos, yes? And the transit terminal is also there. We agree with the mayor and as well as with Sylvester that multimodal transit options are really, really important. And so whether you're going south, you're going east, or you're going west, our transit terminals have you covered. And again, these are all existing already. Now, currently under construction. If you go around MOA today, you'd see a lot of boarded up stores. These are not tenants who have left. Instead, we are actually expanding the mall. And at the moment, it's 400,000 square meters. It's going to go to about 700,000 square meters. I am personally not aware if there is a mall being built today that is larger than that. So potentially, the Philippines will have another first, the world's largest mall in Mall of Asia. And yes, indeed, that is a football field on the rooftop. You know how sports in the Philippines used to be really only basketball, maybe a little bit of boxing, and then volleyball came along, and we're hoping that soccer would be the next big one. That's the Galleon Museum, currently under construction. This celebrates, going back to heritage, Mr. Mayor, the many centuries of trade between the Philippines and Mexico. So we really would like to be part of that tourist loop. So if you visit Chinatown and Fort Santiago, stop over at MOA, do the Galleon Museum, then go take your trip to Corregidor, go take your trip to Malolos for more history. Trip Hotel is under construction. They're doing some quite interesting things. You see the family room up there. You see a treadmill inside one of the rooms. So this is set to open really soon. And this is on the budget end of the market. This is not Conrad level rates. LRT1 extension, which gives light rail access all the way down to Niog in Cavite. And this is just LRT extension 1. LRT extension 2 goes all the way out to Governor's Drive in Dasmariñas. So these are already under construction. C5 South Link is also under construction. Cavitex, as well as LRT extension, improves access to the south. C5 South Link improves access to the east. So this goes from Taguig through Merville, right? And then down towards Pasay to where Mall of Asia is. Yeah, that's already under construction. Skyway Stage 3, as well as the NLEX-SLEX connector road. So if you live in Alabang, you want to go to Pampanga, or you want to go to Clark, you want to go to Baguio, you will have now Skyway access all the way to NLEX. Yep, and that's under construction. We're not even talking, these are planned or these are proposed. These are already, if you drive along Osmeña Highway, the reason there's some congestion there is because the pillars for Skyway Stage 3 and the NLEX-SLEX connector road are already being constructed. Southwest Integrated Terminal, there was a photo by somebody, was it Sylvester? earlier. Anyway, Southwest Integrated Terminal, what is the idea behind this? The idea behind this is that provincial buses do not anymore enter EDSA. Provincial buses stop at the terminal at the border of Manila and Cavite, and then passengers shift to the LRT1, passengers shift to their UV Express, or if you're millennial or feeling millennial, then you'd be using a Grab or an Uber from there. Those are all the things that are under construction, and at this point, I'd like to share with you the things that are proposed for the Mall of Asia area. Interesting discussion we've been having with MMDA. They are proposing a bike loop that starts all the way out from Fort Santiago, goes out into Asiana, then loops inside the Mall of Asia area. The blue part is an existing bike loop already, and we are putting plans in place to make that area a dedicated bike lane, no cars, from 5 in the morning until 8 in the morning every day. So watch for that announcement from us soon. Those of you who have been reading the papers about infrastructure and all of these golden age of infrastructure and PPP, SM have partnered with Ayala to propose what we call the C3 missing link elevated expressway. Once completed, this would allow you to go from MOA to Buendia Ayala intersection, or maybe there are Ayala land people or Ayala Corp people in the room, to go from Buendia and Ayala to MOA in 6 minutes, right? So if you look at the Philippines road network, you have C6 coming out here on the east. This is C5 as we know it. EDSA is C4. If you look at C3, there's a big missing link there, missing chunk there in the middle, right? So that is what this project is about. It will have stops. You go up Mall of Asia Complex, you can get out Ross Boulevard, you can get out Osmeña Highway, you can get out Ayala Corner, Buendia, you can get all the way to Circuit, and you can get to Santa Mesa. So if you live in Quezon City and work in MOA, you also have now Skyway access all the way through. So this has been proposed as an unsolicited proposal, as a joint venture between the SM Group, SMIC, as well as Ayala Corp. Pasay Parañaque reclamation. Is Sylvester still around? Sylvester, are you here? Oh, he left? Yeah. I was going to ask him if he likes this master plan. I think he will because he did it. ACOM did this. So when I was talking earlier about where are we going to house all of this growth, one of the options that we are putting on the table is we add more land to Manila. And this is a 660-hectare reclamation. For reference, this is about 10 times the size of current MOA, if you're familiar with that area. If you're familiar with BGC, this is going to be about 3 times the size of BGC. Okay? Just a little bit more about the reclamation. Why do we want to do this? You saw this chart earlier from Sylvester, and I think it's a perfect explanation of why we need some more reclamations in the metro area. In ACOM earlier talked about this density, the red dots being where all the developments are in Metro Manila. There's no more open spaces. I would like to highlight at this point the natural narrowing of Manila between Laguna de Bay here and Manila Bay. So really, when there is a funnel, there is congestion. We really should not be surprised why the traffic is so bad, right? And so this reclamation attempts to address this narrowing here by creating 700 hectares of land, as I said earlier, 3 times the size of BGC on Manila Bay. I'm going to go through the next slides really, really quickly. They're quite technical in nature, and I'm not really an engineer, but the point of these slides is that some pretty serious thoughts are going on in this reclamation. We're not just getting a bucket of sand somewhere and throwing it into Manila Bay. If you go out there right now, you're going to see pontoons like that one where the sunset is. What they're doing is we're doing the geotechnical studies. We're getting soil samples, 40-meter long tubes, We're chopping them up into meters. We're putting them in boxes. We're shipping them to Hong Kong or Singapore to the laboratories there to do the tests on the soil sampling. We are studying wave patterns, wind patterns, rain patterns, flooding patterns, drain patterns, etc. Some naysayers are saying that if we do this reclamation, we're going to flood the existing Pasay. We would not be in our right minds to allow that to happen, because if Pasay floods, then you won't be able to get into the reclamation. Right? So it is in our best interest to make sure that the mainland doesn't flood. We're also studying the impact of our buildings on the airport, not just the existing NAIA airport, which is the picture on your left, but also the proposed airports such as Sangli, which is the picture on your right. I don't think we want an event where an airplane and a building meet during landing. Or some pictures of the flooding. We were really concerned about during the rainy season. So we studied very heavy rainfall events, Ondoy level type of events, extreme typhoon type of events. And we were really worried about the ability of the existing mainland to drain the water from Metro Manila into Manila Bay. And as it turns out, the problem is the complete opposite. The problem is in the summer season, there's not enough water that flows around, and therefore the water becomes quite stinky. So we have to find the engineering solutions for these things. When you see MOA today, you see a little bit of land and a bunch of buildings. The point of this slide is that underneath that are the stuff that you don't see, is the amount of coastal protection that is there, to protect against the currents, to protect against the tides, to protect against global warming even, to make this development safe. Within the master plan will be Manila's first international cruise terminal. I think there was mention earlier of using the water as transport and as a touristic facility. We have 7,000 beautiful islands and zero cruise industry. Okay, not quite zero. We do welcome cruise tourists. We let them off at the South Terminal, close to where Manila Hotel is. And I don't know that that's a great sign of Filipino hospitality to let tourists down the South Harbor. Right, so that's the cruise terminal. And this is my last slide, actually. JLL, as well as their colleagues, have all said this about how the Bay Area is the next big CBD, how the Bay Area will be the next important part of the city, how the appeal of Bay City is that it is low density. Because we are close to the airport, by nature our buildings have to be kept low, and therefore the densities are quite low. It's very well linked. We've shown you Cavitex, LRT1 extensions 1 and 2. We've shown you NAIA Expressway. We've shown you the C5 extension connection to the east. And we've also shown you the C3 missing link, which takes you between MOA and Makati in 6 minutes. Other people are saying about the large-scale infrastructure developments, which is what we've just discussed, and 2 new buildings. Lead Gold 3 Ecom is going to come up, and yes, that is indeed a waterfall coming down the side of the building. We've put podiums in all of our buildings so that you can watch the famous Manila Bay sunset from there. In addition to the other events, such as the annual Pyro Musical Tech competition, which gathers the best pyro musical engineers from all over the world once a year to outdo each other in the Bay Area. So 3Ecom is going to be ready by January, and 4Ecom is currently a big hole in the ground. We're doing the piling works for that right now. That's it.